Hi guys, Budget here. Had Discord notifications on listed on this first video, so I decided to do a voiceover for the first half of the video and then let the rest play out. Just gonna give you a quick little rundown of kind of what the dungeon, how I feel about it, and some thoughts that I was kind of having throughout the dungeon, just from like a DPS perspective and maybe some tank perspective. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, so starting off here, we kind of go into the first room. I think it's really important to mention that Demo Lock has the added benefit of being a 1 minute class now. So Tyrant is a 1 minute cooldown. So you're basically having it for every single button. Like our big CD is now just every single time we can push that button. So I send Tyrant here. A couple other people are sending some of their smaller cooldowns and kind of holding it. So big thing to note though is I'm not sending Pot. Pot in Midnight is just absolutely disgusting. It's a 70% damage increase, and when you're using that, you just want to try to really, like when you're trying to think about managing your damage, and especially from a tank perspective, using the group deciding to when they're going to use their potions and kind of planning that out is going to be a big change from pool to pool. So that's going to be a kind of a hard decision to kind of pull around that, but we'll just get in the hang of pushing it. I think right now, especially in pugs, especially on beta, we're just kind of pushing it in our big packs, and we know Lust is coming up here. So some groups likes to Lust on the first boss. I find it's better just to Lust here, just to get it on cooldown. The logs have just both going, so we not exactly sure what's just going to be better, but same thing here. So we have Tyrant going into our 1 minute. We send that. Lust came up, and then I'm just using my potion and just full sending. Demo Lock is kind of an easier rotation than it used to be. So you get on 6 imps and you're just going to implode. You send dogs right away. There's no more really extending to really worry about. And then in our Tyrant windows, we're just spamming Hand of Gul'dan. I don't want to talk too much about the exact rotation. I prefer to just kind of like stick to the dungeon here. But yeah, we can see here that the previous DPS obviously probably either hit their pod or didn't hold their cooldowns for the second pack, so they thought Lust would carry them. So that's the big reason for the damage to be just completely backwards there. So you can see the Druid was lagging a little bit here at the beginning of the instance, but cool part of the first dungeon. Magisters Terrace has the added benefit. I know a lot of people don't like it, and it's kind of just up for a little bit of criticism here, is they have buffs around the instance. So the tank, if you're going to decide to tank Magisters Terrace, you're going to learn this pretty fast, but I found being able to tank around these damage buffs and things is just like a huge bonus. This particular one, that book that you just saw me grab, is a 30%, or I'm sorry, it's a 10% haste buff to the entire party. So if you look at my raid frames there, this little guy, it's a guy holding his head. That's the buff. So when you die, you lose that buff. So it's not going to really matter too much for 10s, 11s, 12 keys when we first starting out, but when we start to get higher, groups are obviously, if somebody loses that buff, that's going to be the difference between timing that key and not timing that key. I kind of like it because you get to do big numbers, and doing big numbers is fun, and you're rewarded for playing well. One of the things that one of the reoccurring themes that I've noticed in Midnight is there's mobs that just jump and hit you for really hard, especially when you start to get the key level up. So these little white aberrations, you just saw me one jump right there, the familiar. It just jumped on me, and then I have a big dot on me. So we have to send some type of cooldown, a health pod or something, or ask for your healer to heal you. So I'm just kind of praying I get topped off there, but it can be really demoralizing when you have that buff. You go into this room, and then two of these familiar guys just jump on you, and you get deleted. There's not really a lot you can do about that, aside from either pre-hitting a defensive. But we're lucky we're able to we're just playing Warlock, so we just outlive that. So a lot of other classes are not that fortunate. But yeah, a lot of the same stuff here. Just sending Tyrant, getting hands as many as we can. Demo right now in the beta is very, very strong class. We have an arcane mage in our group as well. You'll find their mana problems are pretty bad. But when they have mana and they're pulling, they just absolutely destroy mobs in packs. So it's good. I like them. I like having them in my group. They're super sick. They definitely help with our big single target bosses that we have. So there's a couple of those in this. So first, second, and the last boss is all single target. So we get into this room, and this is where we start to run into some of the damage stuff. So these worms are going to drop a buff that when you're close enough will give you a damage buff, and it lasts for a certain amount of time here. So we'll just wait to see when this gets added to our debuffs. It's like a small little damage buff. So doesn't look like we were close enough. If you check on my frames, 2 people got the buff. But yeah, so that's ticking down. It can stack up to 20 stacks. The things that the dungeon really incentivizes you to do is to pull around these worms. This crystal behind me, this crystal re-ups the buffs and gives you 10 to 12 stacks. Downside of this is you have to be in that range. So I got 10 stacks there, extended my buff. And then the tank does a really, really good job here as he pulls the worms into the boss, which is exactly what we're looking for. Because now, ideally, if it was a little bit later, it would be perfect because we could extend the buff even longer to make this boss fight go a little faster. So yeah, so we have 10 stacks. Doesn't look like we got re-upped from the mobs. So I think I say at the end of the video that, you know, if we optimize the buff. Oh yeah, we did. There we go. So we are at 20 stacks, so we're maxed out there, going into our tyrant window. So we're gonna do some big damage. Yeah. So this fight's pretty easy. It spawns orbs. If you're a tank, you want to tank them along the wall. It lets the orbs come from a different angle. They can't spawn so close. They don't just like spawn on the wall and then go right into them. So he does a okay job here, just kind of tanking one on the outside, dropping those puddles. And then the DPS are just going to go around and soak these. So you can see that none are spawning by that door there because it's too close. But yeah, so we're going to kind of want to grab these orbs in like a better spot closer to the boss. I actually did kind of a bad job here, grabbing them outside, just kind of muddying up the floor. It's not going to matter too much because the room's pretty big and we have this whole side, but just something to be aware of if you want to try to, you know, really, you know, you're doing the mechanics correctly. So yeah, not too bad. Tyrant's coming up. Same thing. So we're just going to hit Tyrant. We're going to spam hands, do our single target rotation, and pray for good RNG on our demons and go from there. A little small optimization that I was learning, these steps right here, they have kind of like Priory, if you remember tanking Priory. So if you can stand on these and then when they push you, the boss pushes you back, you can actually get pushed into the steps and have a little bit less downtime in your casting. So it's a really small optimization, but it helps if you're just DPSing and you're just trying to get the max amount. So I'm not doing a great job of it here, but you're hopefully going to see me line up with it again, or we're getting orbs. So we'll go and soak those. On a 15, I was soaking 2 comfortably. The tank could probably soak like 1 billion and not really ever feel it. But yeah, I would tank 2 and usually try to hit like a small CD or small DR and just try to live through it. So we had a pretty good group for this one, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, so here we are. We're standing on the steps. And you'll see us get knocked here, hopefully. And everybody will get knocked back, and you'll see us go from there. So, and slam. Oh, it's the tank one. We'll see here. Hopefully he does the DPS one coming up. And here it is. Everybody gets pushed. We don't get pushed, and we can just kind of keep on casting. I probably made a mistake here. I didn't Tyrant under 15%. This is just kind of me not knowing exactly how fast we're going to kill the boss. You know, Arcane, my thought was the Arcane Mage was an execute, but... you know, this boss didn't die as fast. I should have Tyranted and hopefully had it. So I know the next couple packs are going to be pretty big here. So my thought was to kind of hold that to see if we could start, you know, really cranking, because in AoE is where we're going to catch up and kind of be able to pull away from the mage and get away from a lot of the single target stuff. So yeah, we'll see the next pack here. So sticking with the same theme of the dungeon is this entire portion is really optimizing this damage buff that I mentioned earlier with the bright scale worms. These crystals spawn in each of the corners. So we're going to do the worms here. He's going to pull the side, and then we're going to go click that crystal again and extend our buff. So we'll kill the worms. They do a little explosion, and we'll grab the buff. My group probably didn't know about the buff, so I really just tried to... I was kind of being greedy of when I was grabbing them, so I really tried to grab them as much as I can. So I see the crystal. I'm just kind of tracking my buff right now. We're at 9 stacks, and we're going to go over and grab it here in a second. Yep, so ticking down, 9, 8. I'm like, okay, I don't want to pull those 2 guys because they're awful to pull. We reassess our buff. We have 20 stacks, and now we're going into this hallway, which hurts. This hallway is probably where we were finding tanks were just getting kind of just ran over pretty hard just because of how much damage these guys do. I'm actually looking back there to look at the crystal again. So there's 2 in this hallway altogether. So I was like, okay, we're going to try to pull... I really want to try to re-up my buff as much as I can. So I run back, 3 seconds, grab it. And now I'm going in with a full 20 stack plus my Tyrant plus my dogs. So we're going into our normal rotation and just going to kind of, do our AoE rotation. We have those familiars in our group again. Plus, there's one mob doing like a holy fire ability on us. 15, you really start to feel it. So a lot of dispellables for this entire part. So yeah, we're gonna start to really try to optimize this buff. So if we could have pulled one more pack forward, we could just group them all together and then have that 30-second damage buff through this entire hallway, and we'll just get way more damage. So that's really what they were gonna really try to shoot for as best we can. I think splitting the packs up like this hurts, one, our damage, and then also our healing in the packs die slower, which makes it harder to do everything. So our mage was pretty this entire time. I've realized on the beta that tanks really really just do a lot of chain pull. It's very similar to retail. Once they really figure it out, I feel like we're never really any downtime, so it's hard for them to drink, which is they're never really getting a second for that. They're struggling to get mana. So we're going to this full pack. Again, the group doesn't really have any idea what the crystal buff is, so I just grab it for myself and start trying to do the AoE rotation. This pack is so bad. This pack hurts so much. So the spell breakers, they hit like trucks. They have a dispellable buff on them, and then they also will mark 2 players simultaneously. So you can see those on me here, right there. Me and the mage both have it, and that ability just hits really, really, really hard at this point. And there's 2 of them in the pack, so sometimes you can get some really bad overlaps. So the healer did a really good job there, barking me. Mage through had some type of DR, and then they just end up healing themselves to get through it. But with the buff, these guys just fall over instantly, which is really what we're trying to optimize the most there. So we'll go into the next boss here and see how it goes. All right, so this boss isn't too bad, honestly. It's pretty easy. It has a pretty straightforward mechanic if you're kind of following along. So he's going to mark 3 players, and they're going to do like a pulsing AoE ring around them. The mage actually does a pretty good job there. He actually invises to stop the mark, but basically what this mechanic is, one person's want to go into the circle one at a time, and that circle, when you go inside of it, silences you. So the intention of the mechanic is to try to do it one at a time, and with pugs that can be kind of hard. This is one of those instances where like pings are just king, because we can do a good job of leading the dungeon and say, hey, I'm pinging myself, I'm going, and I want you to go next. I don't know what we did without those before, but pings are just so king here. So usually the tank goes last in some of the groups that I was running with. Oh, you got hit by a swirly there, so dodge those. The healer that I normally run with, we try to let him go first, and then one of the DPS hits a DR, and then he heals the other one, and we just kind of loop it like that. So the other mechanic, after 6 of these get done or dispelled, he does like an AoE silence. So you have to actually go in the circle, you stand in there to avoid it, and then you go from there. So this, we can kind of get to see a chance to see Arcane Mage really do their thing here. They're just cranking. There's so good on single target fights that they end up just pulling so much further ahead. That's why, as AoE, we really need to optimize our damage when we get into those big packs. So, and we'll see that in the next one. So we're just doing the same mechanics, just going in and out, making sure they're correct. The tank's got to step in. He steps in, we dodge the circles, and then he's going to do his vow of silence, and then everybody's going to run in. We try to greet another cast, and then we're not going to get silenced. So our group does a good job of getting out of there. We make another health stone. So my thought already when we were sub 10%, very similar to the last boss that we did, is I'm already starting to think about what the next pull is. So the next pull typically in a 15, 12, 13, 15, 12, 13, 14, 15 is going to be pretty big. It's probably one of our best chances. Most of the damage that you're going to get high numbers is going to be in the second half of the instance. So I'm like, okay, I need to set up pot. I think Lust is probably better on the next pool because I think it's a little bit harder. But we'll still get to see a bunch of good numbers here. So we do this staff, and then the mobs come out the tunnel, and then we kind of wait for them. We group them up, and then we just send everything. So we held there a little bit towards the end of the boss. I think the easiest thing to do here is just to run past everything and just get resources as we go. So we send dogs just to get them on cooldown. And then my thought was, hey, I want to get 5 stacks. There's no damage buff or anything here, but all these guys really don't do anything to the DPS, don't jump on you or anything like that. So we're just going to group everything up, pulls the pack on the left, pulls the mini boss, which spawns a bunch of ads. My frames are going to go to like nothing because of the plater uniframes. There's just like a billion mobs in the pack here. So if you got to look, I'm just starting to pop off. So we hit everything. We hit pot. You know, we try to kick that guy in the back. I missed it, but Mage got it there. So we're just full sending. I don't know if what my group was doing, but they definitely did not save their pot for this instance. And you can definitely see that the 70% damage increase that you have in these bigger packs are just going to make they're just going to be total game changers in all the instances. So, you know, the more optimized your group's going to be with your pot, the better it's going to end up being for everybody all together. So, yeah, so this part of the dungeon is honestly pretty chill. It's just a lot of mobs and a lot of packs. A lot of little guys spawn, which kind of makes it a lot of fun. You could do big numbers. The one guy that you do have to look out for, casters aren't too bad. I know we've talked a lot about like bolt slop and all that stuff. I really feel like, you know, my personal opinion on casters is that most of the casters that you get hit by, you can still kind of live on a 15. So at lower keys, it's really not going to feel as impactful to get hit by. I know our item level might be a little bit higher here when we're doing this, but you know, if you're shooting for those early high keys, I haven't really noticed that, you know, the bolts in this particular dungeons don't hurt that much. So one of the other things I really dislike about this part, these Void Infuser guys don't do anything but fear. So towards the end of the dungeon, we actually get hit by one, and one of them is casting there. So this particular pool, we usually do 3. I send my curse, my AoE curse, to slow their cast. But this is a fear. But the really weird thing about it is it's the cast is called, it isn't called like fear or anything like that. It's like void surge. So when you first initially see it, and when you do this dungeon early on in the season, your eye doesn't necessarily catch it because it's not it doesn't allude to being a fear at all. So, you know, just to be aware of that when earlier in the season, that we just want to kind of, you know, look out for those, save your kicks, and, optimize that as much as you can. Use your AoE stops if you have to. So, yeah, the rest of the dungeon, have all the Discord pings and things out. Enjoy the commentary, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. That's like this really, really good optimization on the buff. Half of the dungeon though, you just get so much DPS. All these little there's like these wood color guys just fucking shit out mobs. It's just one long consistent pull the whole way out. Oh, get that! Kick, push, that was good. Just spawn those little guys. A tyrant and my big cooldown. We're on our way. This key's, I'm frying this key. Although the boomkins that are doing like tank damage. Timer's gonna be really tight actually. I lose so much damage on the bosses. That's like my biggest problem. Try to hold implosion for when they spawn. Explosion is weird, you're just standing on 6 now. Get out to drop. 2 seconds on Apex. One more hand maybe? Just missed it. Like, just look at the arcane mage's damage, it's just stupid. Good drop here. The balance druid is, I don't know what he's hitting, probably is not his buttons. Here, I think it's 50% he splits. You can time it with Tyrant. That's it. This end. Drop time with it. Kiss the jellyfish. Rocks. I get to the same point, man. It's just the same thing. I have Tyrant coming up, and I know the next pool attack wants to go big. So. I'm gonna hold. 10%. This bounce through is so bad. Shit. Alright, I have to do. Oh! This pull is always huge. The stairs. Two pulls making the end. Just pull some bullshit here. That's it. Please tell me he's not. Oh, he's gonna run. Oh my god, my frames. Oh my god, I fucking... That's so bad. Oh, bro. I Hallow Terrored him, but I guess it didn't hit him. Or I just hit him in the last tick or something. Not bad. 271 and end up like 280 or something like that.
I know what to do.
Definitely not
I'll
25
need to
mil.
attune the Sinister to the Void Storm.
Oh, we're missing percent.
What is that?
You dare? Then die! Shadow Surge! Seal in darkness. No passage. Shattering shadows.
Fair enough, the healer's not in the tank line.
Darkness devours. Shattering shadows.
I'm so locked in right now. Just trying to see if I can save anybody if we're...
Scattering shadows.
It is done. We have our way into the Void Storm. Let us inform Lorkamar. And perhaps offer an apology for the near catastrophe.
Oh, this pattern sucks. Hey guys, me again. I just want to say thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the content, let me know down in the comments. I really enjoyed making the commentary, so if this is something you'd like to see more of, let me know. Or if you prefer the VOD, I can do those as well. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks. Close. Definitely my best tool on this thing, for sure.
Well done.
290?
Mortal.